March 7th, 1945. Second Lieutenant Karl Timmerman leads an American task force to the banks of the Rhine River, where incredibly, the Ludendorff Bridge still stands. Their mission was simply to secure and hold the town of Remagen, but now, the Americans have a chance to capture a bridge across the Rhine that could drive a dagger into the heart of Germany. However, as they begin to cross, there is a massive explosion.
Every bridge over the River Rhine has got explosives on its western approaches. In the case of emergency, these explosions would be fused first. And by the explosion, you will have a crater against enemy tanks.
The Germans clearly are aware of the approaching Americans. But what Timmerman does not know is the German officer who has the keys to detonate the explosives has been knocked out and lies unconscious on the bridge deck. While they regroup after the blast, the Americans must also sort through the intelligence and other information that is coming in.
As the task force from the 9th Armored Division got into the town, they started picking up a mixture of German soldiers and Volkssturm militia and local civilians. And so the rumors started to circulate. Oh yeah, the bridge is going to be blown up. It's going to be blown up at 1600. Or it's going to be blown up as soon as American troops stand on it.
Despite the risk, Timmerman and his men have their orders to seize the bridge.
There were all these rumors circulating, but most U.S. soldiers figured that at the last minute the Germans were going to blow up the bridge.
But if the Germans are going to wait until 1600 hours, that gives Able Company 45 minutes. The American infantrymen make their way around the crater and start to approach the bridgehead again.
Once the Americans are on the bridge, the remaining Germans on the east bank fire down on the bridge and try to stop the Americans from further advance.
The Americans take cover in the crater and return fire with backup from the Pershing tank's cannons. It cannot move past the crater, but it can still provide supporting fire. Timmerman edges toward the bridge and waves for his men to follow, but they hesitate.
Remagen Bridge on the east bank was faced by a very, very large hill and a tunnel. And so there was suspicion on the part of the American infantrymen that the Germans were lying in ambush, and so that once they got out onto the bridge, that they would receive very, very heavy fire from the tunnel and from the hill.
And German fire from the stone towers on the east side also keeps Timmerman's men pinned down. The American tank gunners take aim and knock out large chunks of the tower. The German machine guns are silenced for the moment, and Timmerman takes advantage. He checks his watch. If the detonation is on schedule, they have 10 minutes. American engineers from the Armored Engineering Battalion also have orders. They must get on the bridge and disarm every explosive they can find.
They know what the demolition charges are apt to look like, and so they're going to go out there and try to remove the explosives and try to deal with the cabling that connects the explosives to the detonator back in the tunnel.
The Americans deploy white phosphorus shells as a smokescreen to shield their advance. Now with some covering fire, Timmerman orders his platoons onto the bridge.
Where the threat seems to be far greater than ordinary, the main leadership skill is you have to lead from the front. He doesn't order the men, you go across the bridge. He says, follow me.
Finally, the German captain, Karl Friesenhahn, regains consciousness and staggers to the east bank. Major Scheller is located, and the order is given to blow the bridge. Friesenhahn turns the key to set off the detonation, but there is no explosion. He tries again, and still nothing. The circuit has been broken.
Friesenhahn had checked that everything was in working order to blow up the bridge. And now, as he turns the key, nothing happens. Must have been quite shocking for him. He and all the other officers are totally in panic.
The Germans have only one option. There is an emergency demolition charge 90 yards back on the bridge, but it must be set off by hand. Friesenhahn asks for a volunteer from the non-commissioned officers.
Of course, in this situation, you couldn't find anybody initially who wants to do this mission, because it's quite a lethal, not quite, it's a very lethal mission.
Finally, a young soldier named Anton Faust steps up. Friesenhahn gives him instructions. Faust takes off onto the bridge under heavy fire.